There's really something unique about making a bike, riding a bike that you made, showing up on a group ride, or someone asks you like, where did you get that bike? I said, well, I made it. Hey, it's Mike here. Welcome to another video. Today I'm going to talk about 5 things I learned about taking a bike frame building course. About 9 years ago, I took Paul Brodie's bike frame building course at the University of Fraser Valley, and I made this awesome frame. The steel hardtail frame used a big fork. It was a fun experience, and it's pretty cool to finish the course and take a bike home and put components on it and ride it, and it's just an awesome to ride a bike that you actually made. So you're probably wondering, why do I have this frame right here? Well, a couple weeks ago I was washing the bike and I noticed the paint was chipping right here. When I scraped back the paint, I noticed there's a little crack in the frame here on the down tube. A little disheartening, you know. I don't really recall sending it, but I did ride it hard. And so, you know, after 9 years of riding it hard, it's finally got some battle scars. So I'm kind of pondering what I should do here. You know, build another frame, buy another bike, or try to fix this one. So it kind of led me to tell you the 5 things that I learned from the course, and hopefully you can make a decision too if a course like this would be something that you'd like to take. Number 1, I thought I had a pretty good understanding on how a bike frame actually got built. When I took the course, I realized that what I thought how a bike frame got built, actually not even close to, kind of blew my mind a little bit. I always thought that you just, you know, cut all the tubes, you know, hand miter them with a file, or maybe use a machine, a lathe or a milling machine, and put it into a jig and just weld it up, you know, line it, paint it, put some components on it and ride it. But when I took the course, I realized no, there's way more steps involved. And the one thing that really I found amazing is that the fixture, the jig, is just for tacking tubes into place. You weld the frame into a certain sequence, and that heat of the weld actually puts it into alignment. And I thought that was a pretty cool you know, a way of building a bike frame, and it kind of makes sense. And when I was talking to Paul about it, he says it took him at least 100 frames to kind of figure out how much heat is involved in the sequence of the welding, and which way you should go around the tubes in order to do little or no alignment after the frame's all welded up. So and when you're buying a bike frame, buying that experience that you know that the bike frame is put together properly. So the second thing that I learned from the course was that I totally looked at bikes a different way before the course. I would go into bike shops and I'd just admire the bikes and the components that were on the bikes, you know, what group set they had, and when my friend would buy new bikes or go to trailheads or go for group rides, I always look at, you know, what group set they had and the wheels they had. I didn't really pay attention to the frame all that much. You know, a frame's a frame is a frame. You know, all the bike companies are doing similar tube sets and geometry, and it didn't really matter to me. But after the course, I really started to appreciate the whole, you know, skill involved in making a frame, and of course the components are something that you can just replace, and a frame usually can outlast a lot of the components as well, because they're, you know, the wear and tear. So now when I go to bike stores and look at bikes, I actually look at the frames more so than the components itself, and admire the craftsmanship that went into building that frame, and all the unique processes, and what tubes they're using, and, you know, the geometry, and just the, you know, the finer details on what someone, you know, a skilled craftsman did to make that bike, to almost to a fault, because you start to pick apart the bike's issues as well pretty easily. You learn to appreciate the craftsmanship that went into building the frame, and more so than just the components. So the third thing that I found from the course is, yeah, you know, you could make a bike frame with some minor tools, you know, like a torch, or, you know, some files and a hacksaw and maybe a drill, and, you know, some alignment tools, and which you could probably make yourself. But realistically, to make a really good frame, you need the specialized tools to make them, like a milling machine, a TIG welder, good torch set, oxyacetylene, the alignment table, and then plus on top of that, you have to make all your jigs and fixtures that you want for, you know, to build a frame as well. So you could easily rack up to over $8,000, $10,000, $12,000 to outfit your shop to make bikes. Now, you know, how many frames do you have to make to cover that cost? Sure, if it's a hobby and you already have some of those tools and you just want to supplement with some other tools, yeah, go for it. How many really quality frames would you be able to make over the cost of buying all the tools? Or if you just went out and, you know, went to a craftsman who hand-built frames and just bought a frame from them. So you kind of have to weigh what do you really want to get out of this. So the fourth thing I learned from this building, but even if you had a lot of the tools and still had to make some of your fixtures and jigs and stuff like that, just to buy a tube set and to make the bike itself, you're looking, you know, you're starting at about $300 or $400, and now you have to paint it, and then you have to buy components. Since I'm not a bike company or a bike store, I have to pay full retail price for all my components. So now you're looking at $500, $600 for you to make the frame, and I'm sure you're going to spend a couple weekends making the frame, and now you have to purchase all the components. It could easily run up to $3,000 or $4,000 at the end of the day. For that price, you can get yourself a pretty nice bike pre-made. So the fifth thing that I learned from this course that it was probably the most beneficial for me was the fabrication techniques that went into building the bike frame. Yes, you know, it is a bike frame building course and a lot of the techniques are geared up to build a bike frame, but I gleaned a lot more than that, than just for the bike frame, that I can apply to other things in my fabrication life. I got to in depth on how to really understand a milling machine and how to really fine-tune my TIG welding abilities. I thought I knew how to TIG weld until, you know, Paul showed me, oh, this is what actually works for this thin metal, and you know, I learned that, and I still apply those TIG welding techniques to a lot of my other projects. All the jigs and fixtures, how to deal with welding heat, to learn from somebody that was in the industry and has been a fabricator from a long time. To me, that was pretty beneficial for the course. Yes, I build a bike frame, but I also learned a whole bunch of other techniques as well, so that I can move forward in my fabrication skills, and hopefully one day I can share that with other people as well, of what I've learned. This handcraft knowledge is, if we don't keep on sharing it and passing it down, that's going to be a lost art. I hope these 5 lessons give you some insight on a bike frame building course. You know, should you take a bike frame building course? Well, that's totally up to you. I thought it was an awesome experience, and I would highly recommend it. You can build yourself your own bike frame for a fraction of the cost to actually tool yourself up to build a bike frame. There's a lot of people out there giving the courses out, and it's a really fun experience, and you'll learn a whole new set of skills, and you become to really appreciate what goes involved in making a bike. My only recommendation for you is take notes. I know a lot of people take the courses and they just do what the instructor says and they just go through the motions, but if you really want to learn lots, you know, bring a book, take pictures, take notes, and really pay attention to what the instructor is telling you. And then, because you never know, you might have to fix a frame in the future. So, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut off the front triangle. I'm going to order a new tube set, a little bit smaller fork. I'll slacken out the geometry a bit, and hopefully this bike frame will outlast me. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, please hammer that like button. If you like my channel, please subscribe, because there will be more videos like this.